Hey guys, you're here. I'm here. I'm pleased. You know I love the company. Shout out to everybody for being here. This is me, Danny, and you're listening to Just Saying podcast. Vanessa Bryant, they came up on a couple mealies, y'all. So it's not a funny story. Here's the situation. Vanessa Bryant, if you don't know, is the widow to Kobe Bryant. And remember, not too long ago, Kobe Bryant passed away. His daughter and a couple of other people on the basketball team that he was coaching, they passed away from a plane crash. And the reason why there was a lawsuit was because there were some photos that were released to the public of their bodies, and those pictures could only have been taken by first responders. So Vanessa Bryant sued the city because your people were supposed to be working and helping, and what they were doing was taking pictures of my deceased husband and my daughter, and then they released those they sent those pictures to social media outlets, to some bloggers or something like that, and they ended up on the internet. I believe that they were like wiped off the internet. I don't think you can find them anywhere because sometimes you got enough power to do such things. But before there were some people who saw them, like on the first day, that it happened. They went out real quick, and it's like, city of Los Angeles, is this what your people do? I mean, we already know what their people do. We've seen their people do lots of things, their police force especially. But I don't know, and I didn't look into it, so judge your own self. But I don't know if it was police, fire, paramedics. I don't know who it was, but those photos were taken with the intent on selling them, and then they were actually released. So I believe that there was some reprimanding from the city, and then there was also, I believe there was some situation with whatever outlets released these photos, because it was so tasteless. It was so tasteless and unnecessary. But the sad thing is, there's a great population who would have really looked at those pictures, and just to see and be able to see it. It's traumatizing enough. And also, I believe that those photos were released either right before or right after she found out that her husband had passed, like, and her daughter. And so it's just like, and what is your moral compass? Like, y'all don't even care about this family. No, you were just trying to get shock and money. And it's sad how bad people will go, or how far people will go, or how low people will go to get a picture, to be known or be the first one. Some things you just gotta say, I'm not showing that. I'm not showing that. But people are low, and people want to be like, I had it first. I got it. Nobody else wanted it. And even if somebody wanted it, people at least had enough sense to know, we can't put this out here. We can't put this out here. But somebody did. And now Vanessa Bryant has won the lawsuit, $28.5 million lawsuit against the city of Los Angeles. Was it worth it? It's crazy, and then that money comes from taxpayers. I swear that when these people do these things, it should come out of their pension. It should, whenever any of this nonsense is happening, it should come out of their pension. When I was at my old job and we had to keep track of people's money, if 50 cent was missing, it needed to come out our pocket. If $5 was missing, it needed to come out of our pocket. You know, there wasn't no covering for that. It's, sometimes you just, I mean, I'm not really sure because I never really had any missing money, but I believe that, we work with a certain population. That population, sometimes you might just drop a dollar, 50 cent, or, you put 50 cent in for a little gumball machine or something. You don't even really keep track of that because there's no way to get a receipt or whatnot. But you got to put that in. And I just feel like if you're doing something where you're trying to get some money, when we got to pay out money, that got to come out y'all's pension. Because I believe more people would be like, "Don't do it, dog," because I'm not trying to pay. I'm not trying to pay into the oops, the city that messed up fund again, you know? And so I think congratulations, and moving forward, hopefully, some of these people will think more, but we already know it don't matter where you go, it's gonna be careless and heartless people. So there's that. But she did win, and this is Women's History Month, so this is the perfect time for her to win said money during the women's history. It's a Women's History Month. Women celebrate women. I don't know, something about women. This month is about the women, all women, from what I understand. But this was a good win. And we're gonna keep it rolling with women this month, this week, because there's a couple. I just kind of feel like, we need to celebrate what's happening, the wins for women this month. Who remember the Brat? The rapper the Brat. Who remembers her? Not that you shouldn't, because she's been on the internet heavy. The Brat was a rapper from the 90s. She was under So Def, which was JD or Jermaine Dupri's record label. She was label mates with like Criss Cross and Bow Wow back in the day. And she was the one who always had like she had a more of a masculine look. She had braids in her hair all the time, or like, a lot of ponytails, very colorful type of style. But that was the 90s anyway. And then she did like a stint in prison. I don't remember for what for. I think it was like a fight or something that broke out that she had a couple of years on her. She's also the sister to Lisa Ray, who we most people know her from the Players Club movie, and then now she's out here doing a couple of things, and then she married that dignitary or something from an African country, I believe, and then he cheated on her, and it was a whole big thing. But the Brat, we don't need to go all into Lisa Ray's business, but the Brat, after she came out of prison, she started doing radio. She's on Dish the Dish, is it called The Dish? With Ricky Smiley, the comedian Ricky Smiley. She's been on there for Dish Nation, I think it is. But I don't know. Something like that. She's been on there with Ricky Smiley for a couple of years, and about 2 years ago she came out of the closet. And about a year ago or something around that time, I don't know, the pandemic that made me lose track of time. I don't know what was 6 months ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago. It's all the same time for me. But not too long ago she came out. Then she came out because she was with her girlfriend Jessica, which we all know her as BB Judy, which is a woman who started a hair growth line called Kaleidoscope. If you don't know, from what I hear, Kaleidoscope works really well. It's in a lot of stores. It's in Target now. And so BB Judy got a lot of money, just let you know. So they got together. The Brat then, started putting it on the internet that they were together. They got married, and now the Brat is having a baby. And it was big news. One, because she's a celebrity and they're a celebrity couple. They also have a reality TV show right now on, like, I don't know, We TV or something like that. I've only watched like 3 episodes. It's not for me. But also because the Brat is over 40. I believe that we don't even got to believe. We could just go on and look it up. How old is the Brat? She is 48 years old, and she is having her first child now. Okay. And then people was like, it was a lot of controversy, like, oh, she's too old to do this, whatever. Let me just tell you one thing. Janet Jackson had her baby when she was 50. And from what I understand, the bride had been trying to get pregnant for a while. And from what I understand, she was pregnant at one point and lost that baby. It was not a big, huge thing that they, went through a lot. But I think because of the TV show, they must have covered it on there or something like that. Or maybe she didn't talk about it until after she got pregnant and she, let out this story and everything. This was right after the halftime show. This was they announced this. I think like we saw the halftime show with Rihanna, and Rihanna revealed that she was pregnant. And then I think on Monday or Tuesday, right after that, we got pictures of the bride revealing that she was pregnant. And Rihanna is not young herself, but I think she's in her mid 30s. She's in her, but the bride definitely 48. Janet Jackson had her baby when she was 50. People with the kind of money that they have, because when I tell you, I believe that, let me just see, but I believe that, what's her name? Judy Jessica is worth a couple millies. I believe she is worth a couple millies. And so they have, and the bride herself is worth a couple millies herself. And so I think that people who have that kind of money have a different kind of, health care. Because when you don't have to, rely on what your insurance is going to tell you that you can and cannot have, rather than just being able to, go out of pocket for what you want and the services that you want, you get a different level of care. And then also, a lot of people, the people that I know had to get up and go to work. And I'm not saying that the brat doesn't work, but she does have the luxury of not, having to worry about the bus and the bills and the things like that in the same way as quote unquote regular people have to do. So, the care that will be taken from said woman is different. Now, I'm not saying that it's easier to be pregnant, because it's not. We know that what's her name? Beyonce had a couple of miscarriages when she was trying to conceive her children. And I believe Janet Jackson did too. But, I think that of course they had, some fertility, what is it called? Procedures done. I can't even think of words. They had fertility procedures done. And that was good, for them, because that's what you would probably need to do if you are a lesbian couple. And we don't know. We don't know if they had, if this situation was an open um situation where there's a male who may be, connected, or if this was all anonymous. We don't know. I don't know anyway. I don't, if there was a story about it, I didn't read it. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I didn't read it. But I still want to say congratulations, because for people who would like to have children, if they would like to have children and they can go about it, and then they are successful, that's a happy thing. And clearly she wanted to have children. Now, there was a point and a part of me that was concerned that this was not the brat that wanted this, but more Judy. Because, Judy has children. I know she at least has one child, and she has a grandchild. So for me, it's like, oh, I can't be having no babies when I got grandbabies. Like I have a grandchild, and you won't never see me push another one out. But the grandchild wasn't the deciding factor for me. Let me let you let me let y'all know I reached my limit of giving birth, both well before the grandbaby was here. But if ever somebody had thought maybe I might have wanted to think about it a little bit, once that grandbaby was born, I can't do it. I know there was a family who used to live down the street from my grandma when we were growing up, and they had like 12 kids. And So some of the kids is the same age as some of the grandkids, and the nieces and the nephews is the same age as the brothers and the sisters. It's a lot going on. It's a whole lot of. But they, when I was growing up anyway, they seemed like a very close knit family, so it all worked out for them. But it don't work for me. Is all I'm saying. Anyway, congratulations to the brat. If y'all get on the internet and see her picture, she looks beautiful. She looks happy, and that's all we need to worry about. Now, I know there's a lot of people who want to be like, well, why would she want to have a baby if she want to be a lesbian? Because people can still want to be parents. Like, that don't have nothing to do with it. And a lot of people are like, well, I don't even understand why she want to carry a baby when she don't even want to wear dresses. What does that got to do with it? I know a lot of women. Me personally, I don't wear a lot of dresses and skirts, but people still call me girly. Like the other day, I was on the internet. I was talking to some people on the internet, on a live stream, and somebody was like, "Yeah, but you're really girly," and I was like, "Am I girly? I didn't even know that I was considered girly because I don't really go for skirts and dresses that much. Like I'll wear one every now and then, but I just don't know I don't feel like I know how to, find the right style of skirt and dress for my body. So I wear what I think is fashionable, but I didn't really I don't know if I would have considered myself girly, but then once they said it, I had to like reevaluate, and I was like, maybe I am a little bit more girly, but that don't have nothing to do with it, because I know some women who are super girly who is like, I'm cool off that whole giving birth thing. And I know some women who was mad, what you would call mad tomboys, straight women, mad tomboys. They got a good 3, 4 kids. So I don't think the way that you dress decides whether or not you would like to be a parent. And I surely know that there's no it's not about, you know, who you love doesn't decide whether or not you want to be a parent, because people are just like, well, why would she want to have a baby if she wants to have a wife? I know many women who are straight, myself included, who ain't never had no dude involved with their kids. The only part of that was the part where they helped to create that child. And then after that, them people strolled off, rolled off. And I didn't have a partner at my house helping me when I needed to, get up with bottles, or there was a sick baby and I was sick, or, I needed to be at this place and they needed to be at that place, and somebody else could help me, because then I didn't have to cut time at either place. None of that stuff happened for me. So I think that when you are looking at it in that way, like, oh, well, why didn't she want to have a husband? Not gonna lie, husbands in my family, husbands ain't really a good thing. Like it ain't never really worked out for anybody, in my family, like in the line of people that, I know in my family. Husbands ain't been the greatest thing for us, but people got kids, children were raised, families created, and so I think that people look at that so crazy. I know that I was talking to my friend the other day, and she was saying, like, don't you feel like it was better because you grew up in a two-family household? And I was like, I mean, a two-parent household. And I was like, let me tell you something. First of all, I was in the house with my parents um, until I was 15. Okay. But these people were not, they were adult people who were in our house. They were not parents. Okay. You chalk it up to whatever you want, call it whatever you want. They were two people who were older than us and of legal age, but they were doing very little parenting in the house. And no, I do not feel like I was better off. I do not have a lot of confidence. I do not, I'm not I just became self aware, and the amount of non-loving words that were said in my home compared to the amount of loving words that were said in my home, it don't come nowhere close to equal. And so sometimes we need to understand that two people in the house, does not make for better upbringing. Sometimes it just makes for double the hell, you know? And if these two women, because the when we're thinking about it and we're just thinking about, oh, it's two women in the house, that's not going to be okay. But in my family, everybody grew up with just women in the house. We just grew up with just women in the house. I grew up with, we grew up with my grandma, my aunties, and we was in everybody was in the house together, working together to, try to raise up some kids. That's what happens in my families. And I think that somebody saying like, oh, two women, it's so many families that do it. I don't know why all of a sudden it is crazy because these two women want to do it, because sometimes somebody might see them kissing. Like, grow up for real. Like, seriously, y'all need to think better than that, because y'all know a lot of people who ain't had no man, or at least no good man in their home, or if there was or there may not have even been any men in the house. That sometimes they dating people, but there wasn't anybody helping them to raise their children. It's no different here, y'all. It's no different here. It's actually somebody helping to raise a child. So chill out with all that crazy thought about why this not okay, because you are saying that something is not okay for your house. That don't mean it's not okay for their house, because what was going on in my house wasn't okay for most, should not have been okay for most people when I was growing up, but it happened anyway. Okay, and if that didn't happen, I would not be here talking to y'all right now. So, like, everybody, just congratulate the brat and congratulate Judy, Jessica, for this baby that they getting ready to have. Speaking of people having babies, Kiki Palmer had a baby. Kiki Palmer had a baby. Now she's 29, so she in baby making time. With less of the medical concerns, I guess. Either way, she already had the baby, so she had a little baby named Leotis. I think it's Andrelton Jackson. They calling him Leo. He's a cute little baby with her boyfriend that she had posted on the internet. I don't think we knew she had a boyfriend until she posted that she was pregnant. So, did y'all know Kiki Palmer was pregnant? Y'all know who Kiki Palmer is? Remember Akila and the Bee? Akila? She, the cute little Akila, that's who had that baby. I really like the personality that we see on the internet of Kiki Palmer. She seems like a genuine person when she's talking about real things, about real issues. I really like it. Kiki Palmer done had a talk show. Right now, I believe she has like an internet, a television network that's starting, or a television station. I don't know. Something is starting, or if it has not already started. I know she also has a podcast that is hilarious. She's funny, and she's a cute girl. She was the host on one of the morning talk shows, wasn't she? Like Good Morning America or something like that for a minute. She just, it's not Good Morning America. I don't know which one it was, but she was the host on one of the talk shows for a minute, and I thought she was cute. I believe she had her own talk show for a while. She's on the internet crazy. And one of the best things that I really appreciate, not okay, one of the best things I really appreciated is, even though sis just had this baby, she didn't already came out and been like, I commend single mothers, because even in these past couple of days, it's been hard to be a mother, and I needed my whole village. For people who did not have a village, I commend y'all. I don't know how you're doing it. I think that you are brave women. Like, she really went hard. Tears, but that postpartum, you get a little sad all the time. But still, emotional about the fact that understanding that having a village is a privilege, and not everybody is given that opportunity to be helped and assisted in that way. I really appreciated that. But y'all get on the internet and look at her the cute little baby pictures. See her baby out there on the internet. See, little baby Leo, that's what they calling them. Little Leo out there on the internet, cute. Kiki Palmer out here looking like love. Y'all think she's gonna try to get married next? I don't. because I think she's of the Oprah school where she just don't feel like she needs to have a husband. She just want to be out here. Yeah, I said it like this bad, but she want to be out here, hanging out, having fun, and I think that that's a good way to travel. To be honest with you, but hopefully, her and this guy who the father of her children, her child, and her current boyfriend can, always be amicable. That's what I ask for nowadays. Always be amicable. We don't need all the nonsense going on with the people. So yeah, check out Kiki Palmer pictures on Instagram. If you want to really see them, go on Instagram. If you ain't on Instagram, get the Googling. Hit the Googles. Kiki Palmer, Keke Palmer. You can see her cute little baby. Also, you can see the Bratz belly if you want to. Her photo shoot that they did. What I heard, their photo shoot, like her baby reveal, her bump reveal photo shoot was like Scarface or something. I don't know. I just saw like two pictures. I didn't know there was a whole photo shoot about it, and I did know it was Scarface themed, but that's what somebody told me from the internet. So you know how much you could take that. I don't know. I believe some of the people though, and so shout out to them for that. This story, I don't know how I feel about it yet. Let's talk through it. So Michael B. Jordan, the star of Creed. He's done many movies, many movies. And also we saw him, grow up in front of our eyes. He was on the red carpet. I don't know if it was the premiere for his movie because the new Creed movie just came out. I don't know if it was a premiere for that or if it was something else. You never know because Michael B. Jordan be all over the place because he Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan was on the red carpet. When they do that, they have to go and talk to the press. And one of the people that he went to talk to was this woman named L'Oreal. L'Oreal was a rapper at one point. She had a podcast for a good while. She was on a couple of reality shows as like a friend of type person. She was never like a main person, but she was on a couple of reality shows as the friend of some other people. And she is in like broadcasting. She does radio, podcasts, things like that. And for whatever blog or news network she's with now, she was a correspondent on the red carpet. So Michael B. Jordan goes up to her to take the interview, and during this, she was saying, we go back, is what she said. And he said, oh, yeah, the corny dude, right? You called me the corny dude. Now, what happened is L'Oreal and Michael B. Jordan went to high school together. I believe it was high school. If it wasn't high school, it was middle school. And if it was middle school, this is even worse, but don't worry about it. I'm going to say high school. They went to school together. And when they were in school, at some point, L'Oreal was talking to another woman who was in school with them. And the woman was saying that, they know Michael B. Jordan, and Michael B. Jordan was corny when they were in high school. So when Michael B. Jordan sees her now, he's saying, oh, yeah, you think, y'all said I was a corny guy, right? Remember, I was a corny guy. Look at us now. And there was, she was saying like, oh, yeah, I didn't call you corny, but you was corny, like whatever. Michael B. Jordan was just kind of like, yeah, but look at me now and look at you, like I'm a huge movie star and you here trying to interview me. And I felt like, now that I'm talking about it, I felt like that sound corny. Part of me feels like that sounds corny. Y'all was in high school, and let's stop acting like in high school there wasn't no corny dudes that then when you grew up they was fly. Number one, they looked good, and number two, they came into their career, and it's like, oh, look at you, that's not who you were in high school. And why is it bad to say that you was corny back then if you were? they were saying that, he was walking around, and from what I hear, the conversation was like when he was in high school, he was walking around with like his headshots in his pocket, and people was like, "That's mad corny." Like, dude, okay, we get it. Like, you want to be in whatever, and I could see in high school, and you got to put yourself back in high school when you was in high school. If you was part of the popular crowd or a more popular crowd, somebody who was not part of that crowd walking around talking about they gonna be, in movies, it sound like, all right, dude, I see you. And if you go back and look at Michael B. Jordan when he was on The Wire, he wasn't cute. He wasn't cute then. He wasn't the Michael B. Jordan man that he looks now. And so when we was in high school, he was corny. The same thing with like a Nick Cannon, right? Nick Cannon, when he was in high school, we all know when Nick Cannon was in high school, he was corny. He was not no you would not believe that he was one of the popular dudes, right? But look at Nick Cannon today, and people still call him corny for most of the stuff he do. Corny ain't disrespectful. It may have hurt your feelings when you was in high school, but there's lots of people. There are so many people who are celebrities who talk about how when they were younger, people, they were the nerd, they were the ugly girl. There's lots of models who say that, like, oh, when I was in high school, I was really ugly. I had buck teeth, this, whatever. And if people acknowledge that when you were there, does that make them mean, or is that just who you were? If you was a corny dude. And I don't even know, like, I just feel like the fact that he tried to crown her to be like, oh, I'm here and you're there, just because everybody, number one, can't be an A-list movie star. That's number one. And number two, it don't seem like that's ever been L'Oreal's track. It's not like it was like, oh, we both was trying to be actors and actresses, and I made it big and you didn't. No, she's in a different lane, and the lane that she in, she's feeling, confident in her lane today. And what he did was make it seem like being in her position was bad. And I don't like that, and I think that's corny. It's like, oh, look at me and where I'm at, and look at you. And it's like, okay, dude, what does that mean? Don't you need people that want to interview you? Now all of a sudden the interviewer ain't good. You came over here to talk to me. You only came over here to talk to me because you wanted to say, oh, I'm bigger than you now. Okay. What she was saying was like, yeah, okay, you was corny back then, but you good. Like, I'm acknowledging you. I'm not saying, you wasn't weak. I'm not even out here acting like we was friends. She said we go back to such and such days. If you went to the same school with somebody at the same time, y'all go back to such and such days. If you knew me when we was in there, we do go back to those days. That doesn't mean I'm saying we was friends. I'm saying we go back to those high school days. You remember me, I remember you from high school. We go back to them days. It's not me trying to pretend like we was friends. And I think it was a little bit corny for him the way he did it. Now, I don't feel like you shouldn't feel a way about the fact that people was calling you corny back in the day, but I do think you should evaluate, were you? Because I feel like, lots of people made fun of me when I was in high school. There were some people who made fun of me and called me fat. I was bigger than some of the other girls. Um, Not too much bigger though. Not don't get too heavy on me in high school. But I was bigger than some of the other girls, and there was some times that I could remember when weight was a factor. But I have to, think to myself like, well, but was I a bigger girl? Yes, I was. Um or at least I believe that I was back then. That those two things can be true, but I think that corny isn't so bad. But I guess if you're the person they call him corny, then it is bad because you don't want to be corny. But did he think he was cool in high school? Because that's what I'm trying to figure out. Michael B. Jordan, what they were saying was, Michael B. Jordan was walking around like he was somebody because his name was Michael Jordan in high school. And at the time when they were in high school, the Michael Jordan was it was a big name, and it was basically like, yeah, I mean, your name, yeah, your name Michael Jordan, but you like corny compared to the Michael Jordan, like that's, whatever. And I think that he not taking none of that in consideration. He also not taking in consideration that they was kids. Y'all was kids. You're not a kid anymore, sir. And again, people will assume that you not corny because you look good. How we know how he act? Corny. We don't know. We don't know how he behaves as a person. We never really see Michael B. Jordan. We only saw Michael B. Jordan out here talking after he dated Lori Harvey, and everybody wanted to, he was trying to get like a. I know this is just my side, but before this, Michael Jordan really wasn't trying to get connected to a black community. He was just trying to be like, I guess, um, the everybody person, and then maybe he wasn't, maybe his publicist, his people were saying he wasn't getting enough, on the black card, and so he dated Lori Harvey for a quick minute. But we all know Michael B. Jordan, or maybe y'all don't all know, but what is being said is Michael B. Jordan usually dates Caucasian women. He doesn't really date a lot of black women. And, now he getting mad because a black woman from high school called him corny in high school. Some people is just corny. And that's facts. Like everybody can't be the cool kids in school. And I just don't think my problem is I think that Michael Jordan know that he was not one of the cool kids in high school. And maybe L'Oreal was one of the cooler kids in high school. I could see it given her look that she would be considered one of the cooler kids in high school. Her personality, I could see that her personality might be able to push her towards the cooler kids in high school, and Michael B. Jordan wasn't one of them. And I think that this came from his jealousy of not being one of the cool kids in school and have one of the cool kids call that out in this day and age. Was it respectful? Probably not. It probably wasn't respectful, but it was two women from high school who were talking about their high school experience that had Michael B. Jordan as part of that. He was corny. I think that, I don't know. I think that I think that it was I think that it's high school stuff. I think that if he felt like he'd have made it this far to be bitter about it, I don't know. I don't even know if he's bitter, but the way that he brought it up was fine. I think what really the issue for me was the fact that he made it seem like, oh, you called me corny and now you ain't doing nothing with your life, but look at me and my life. So, but you was calling me corny. Again, that don't mean you wasn't corny back then, sir. That's what we were talking about. I didn't say you was corny today. I said you was corny back then. And I don't know why that can't be true. Just because you don't like it. Well, life is rough, I guess. And here we are. I just feel like, it's Women History Month. How dare you talk about a woman like that? She's out here doing her thing. She's been steady working just like you. Just because she's not, her look, his look carried him far. And he just need to calm down for real. He need to calm down. I think that a lot of people just came to his defense and being like he could do it, and I think a lot of people came to his defense because he is the Michael B. Jordan today. But we didn't know that man in high school. We didn't know that boy in high school. We don't know if he was corny or not. We don't know if she's telling the truth or not. But clearly, it must be because um another person said it too. Another person they went to high school. It wasn't just her. She was having a conversation with somebody else that went to high school with her, and they were saying that yes, they were saying Michael B. Jordan was courting back in high school. So we just have Michael Jordan feeling a way about it. We don't have him denying it. So like I don't know, but that was going around the internet for a minute. People had been talking about this Michael B. Jordan situation, and whether or not it was nice for her to say he was corny, and whether or not it was okay that he should have brought it up on the red carpet, and whether or not it was a lot of situation, a whole lot of situation. But the one thing I do know is they both got more money than me, so somebody call them and tell them to let me be on the red carpet. I know celebrities, I can ask questions. Chris Rock's comedy special was on the other night. It was live on Netflix. I don't even know if it's still up. Like, I don't know if you can watch it again. But if you've been on the internet, people have been talking about it because clearly we all knew that we were watching it to see if he was going to say anything about the slap from Will Smith. And he did. And one of the things that everybody is talking on is that Chris Rock said, well, okay, not one of the things, two things. The first thing is that Chris Rock said that Will Smith had selective outrage and that it was crazy that Will Smith decided to attack Chris Rock for saying things about them, but he didn't say anything. He didn't attack any of the other people. And I don't know if I addressed this on this podcast, even though I feel like I did. What my stance is a lot of people did say things about Will and Jada. A lot of people did not say those things in front of Will and Jada in their face. Okay. So we can't compare the two. We can't compare a person who has said some things on their television show, on their podcast, on their YouTube channel to a person who's standing in your face while you are getting ready to be honored for your works. That is not the same thing. So you can't be like, well, he didn't say it he didn't go and do. They weren't standing in his face, Chris. You were. And so since you were the one who was bold enough to say some things in his face, you also needed to be bold enough to take whatever the ramifications for that was. Because if we know, there have been lots of comedians who have said things about celebrities, and then later on those comedians say those celebrities later on confront them. So being like, oh, well, it's just because I am who I know. No, it's because you stood in his face and said the things that you said. And since you wanted to stand in his face and his wife's face and say the things that you said, then you are the one who would get approached. That's how that works. Secondly, the other thing that was said was that he said that he did not fight back because his mom taught him not to fight in front of white folks. This might sound rude, but Chris Rock in that same special talked about how his mother was so old that when she needed to go to the dentist, they had to go to the vet. So she was taught a different brand of how to behave around white people than the present 2023 black people are doing. And so to be like, oh, because of how my mom, who grew up in the Jim Crow era and had to get her teeth fixed at the vet, told me how to behave in front of white folks, means that I still should behave that way. We don't give a damn about what the white people think about us today, Chris. If you wanted to defend yourself, you should have. But Chris caters to white people more than he does black people. And you could go back on it and you could argue with your grandma about that. But that is true. Number one, Chris Rock did not date, marry a black woman. His children, I believe, are half Asian or something like that. I don't believe that he has a black, his ex-wife is black. Number two, Chris Rock is on camera. It is literally, you can pull it up on the Googles, on YouTube, of Chris Rock letting another white comedian say the N-word in his presence while Jerry Seinfeld was saying, like, I don't think we should be doing this. I don't think we should be saying this. Chris Rock thinks it's funny because the way that he placates the white people is a different thing. And then to be like, oh, we don't do this in front of white people. Chris, where you be that you don't be in front of white people? Like, what are we talking about? Oh, we don't do this in the company of white people. Where do we do it? Because you don't have non-white spaces around you, sir. As far as I can tell, you don't. And so I don't understand. All of your comedian friends are white people. I don't understand. Like, what we doing? And another thing. Even on his show, he did not defend his joke and being like the joke was justified because it was funny. What he was saying was I should be allowed to talk about them because they talk about them. If I want to talk about myself all day, I can. That don't mean you can't. Ain't nobody never talked about, y'all ain't never heard anybody talk about or said yourself, I could talk about my sister all day. You can't talk about my sister. And that's the thing. Will Smith and Jada could talk about each other all day. They could talk about each other to each other all day, even if they doing it on the internet where everybody can see it. That don't mean that they say, and it's okay for you to do it, for you to make me to be a part of your jokes. That's not what that is. And again, the joke that he told didn't have nothing to do with their entanglement, so I don't know why he brought that up. It didn't have nothing to do with Will's career, so I don't know why he brought it up. He could have told many jokes about Will. Will was the one being honored that night. He could have told many jokes about Will. Why coming after Jada was the focus still doesn't make sense, and I don't like Jada. And I'm always mad when I got to defend people I don't like. But I don't like Jada. But that doesn't mean that Chris wasn't wrong or it wasn't crazy that he said what he said. And I feel like if you're a comedian, stand on what you say and then take the repercussions to it. Now, this might backlash on me because I do feel like I want to try stand up. Don't judge me. It's on my bucket list, so I'm going to do it. And if it kick off, I'm probably going to talk about somebody. Somebody's probably going to be upset about it. And I'm probably going to have to stand on my word, too. And maybe somebody might want to hit me. I just don't get, why people are saying that it's okay to talk about Jada's hair or doing a job that she never was going to try to do because of the fact that they talked about their entanglement. I just feel like those two things don't go together. They just don't. If you wanted to make jokes about the entanglement, then you should. But also, I also feel like it's really strange that people keep on doing all of this where they feel like you can make all these jokes about people because Jada and Will were willing to be honest and say that, sometimes, and this is not new, that we know that Jada and Will deal with other people. We know that because they talked about how their relationship is they don't call it open, but we all know it's open based off of the conversations that they've had. But Diddy around here having babies and sleeping with young girls and nobody saying anything about that. Like, that's fine. Where's Chris's jokes about that? Why you didn't talk about that all day? Like, it's weird. It's weird to me that he's saying that. And then he tried to justify, first it was, I didn't fight. I didn't fight because we do nothing. We don't fight for the white people. Then it was also, well, they talked about their entanglement themselves on TV. So why couldn't I say nothing about them? You didn't talk about the entanglement. Then it was, well, she started it first. She attacked me first because she said that I shouldn't host the Oscars because her husband wasn't nominated for a Oscar. And that wasn't even the truth. The truth was she said that he shouldn't host because the Oscars were not nominating any blacks. The hashtag was Oscars so white. That meant that it wasn't Oscars don't like Will. It was they were not nominating any blacks for anything to win. And that's the truth. That was truth. And after that, after she asked for that boycott, and then, a lot of the other actors started speaking out and being like, yeah, they don't nominate us. We don't get paid enough money. All these things. Then it was like, but they didn't want to give her credit for it because people just don't like her. Now, I don't know why in the industry people don't like her. I think, it may be kind of like the Monique thing where, she's a black woman. You shouldn't speak out about things as a black woman. And in the time and when she was speaking out, people was just like, this is just how it go. It's kind of the same Monique thing, which is making me upset again because I don't even like Monique and I got to kind of defend Monique because, Monique, speaks out about what she feels like is right for her. Now, I always feel like her approach is wrong, but damn, at some point, you got to look at it and be like, because she said you shouldn't do something doesn't mean mean she attacked you, Chris. She was saying that you should stand with the rest of the black people and boycott this year. Not just because of one actor, but because of many actors. And a lot of times it takes one personal situation to make people speak up about stuff. We don't have a lot. When MAD started, Mothers Against Drunk Driving started, mothers wasn't talking about the mother. There would be a new mother on board once her child was one of the kids who was affected by a drunk driver. The same as police brutality. There's a lot of mothers. There's a lot of women who were not speaking out against police brutality until the police murdered their child. That's how that happens. So for him to be like, oh, because her husband wasn't, that's how it works, Chris. I felt like it before and I feel like it now that Chris Rock didn't have a defense. He knew he was wrong when he said what he said and how he ended up getting slapped. Again, do I really feel like people should get hit? I mean, sometimes people do be asking for it, just not gonna lie. Y'all gonna have to take the dog today, because I don't know what to do with her. She playing with the toy. Anyway, I do believe that Chris doesn't have a defense, which is why he's trying to use everything. And these were all talking points that he gathered from the internet. He was wrong. He didn't need to talk about that woman. And instead of just saying like, okay, yeah, I shouldn't have told the joke, but he shouldn't have put his hands on me, which is what I would have accepted, but he don't know how to do it. Talking about, oh, I'm not going to go on these talk shows and talk about it. No, because you knew that you had a stand-up comedy tour coming out and you were going to use it as, there was no reason to go do interviews, because then how would you have used it as material for your comedy tour? We know why you didn't go and do it. We know why. Because you were going to use it for material for your comedy tour. And that's what you did. And so you decided that what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep talking about these people, even though when I got slapped, I shut the hell up. You didn't keep talking about them in their face. Why didn't you come when you were done? You didn't come back out and say another thing about that man or his wife when his thing was announced as a winner. You didn't say nothing about them then when you were standing right there and could have said all kind of comedic stuff. You didn't say nothing then. No, you wanted to use it as material for your comedy tour instead of going and interviewing with anybody. People were like, oh, this is going to be great material. And you were like, yes. And who were you talking to? White people, Chris. Let's not do this. When I already did it, so now I'm going to tell you, you're still in the wrong. I don't think that Will Smith should have slapped Chris. I do think that there is a thing called F around. You're going to find out. And I feel like Chris F'd around. And then he found out. And I feel like if you know somebody keeps on having some people talking about them. You know pressure building. If you feel like you want to be the one who can test the pressure limits, then you test them. And I think that that's what happened. Chris was saying, I don't care. I'm bold. I'll test the pressure limits. People been talking about them. I don't know if they like it or not. I don't care if they like it or not. I'm going to say stuff in front of their face. And when you did, and what you said, what you didn't talk about the entanglement. I don't think that there would have been huge outrage about the entanglement. I don't know. Let me stop lying. I don't even remember if he spoke about the entanglement. I don't think so, though. But I don't think that they would have had huge outrage about the entanglement. I think they were prepared and are prepared and have been prepared to hear anything about the entanglement. But to attack her hair after you was trying to be, oh, let me do black women's hair DVD documentary is disrespectful and crazy and out of line, and it didn't make any sense, and you didn't defend why you thought that joke was relevant then. I like Chris Rock as a comedian. He has said some things, but when you go back and watch some of the stuff that he says, that's when it becomes a little cringe. Now, a lot of the comedians, when you go back and listen to some of the things they said, it's a little cringe. And that's cool. But I think that sometimes, we have to look at, is his cringe because he's been placating to the white people? Because that's what I feel like. And I ain't okay with it. I'm not okay with it. I'm not. So, I just feel like at this point, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in it. I'm disappointed in what he said, but I'm not shocked. And that's what makes me even more sad. Is that I'm not even shocked. I'm not even shocked that this is how he went about this. And then going to drop the mic on you don't fight in front of white people? What? Let me hold my breath a little bit, because it don't make no sense to me. We got to do better. If you thought it was funny, go ahead and leave me an email at JusSayin Podcast. Let me know what you thought was funny about it, because at this point, I didn't think it was, I don't know. I don't want to say I didn't think it was funny, because again, I did not see it from the beginning. So if I can find it, I'm going to watch it so that I can see if it was funny in the beginning. I caught it at the tail end. I literally caught it maybe 5 minutes before the Will Smith material started. And so I thought I missed it, because I thought it was going to be that, I thought he was going to hit it at the beginning to get it on out the way. But no, he saved it to the end, which I thought was smart, because then that keeps everybody watching. But the comedy special, instead of them tuning out early. But also, y'all, anyway, I don't got nothing going on this week. I don't got nothing coming up this week that I could think of. Typically, I plan out things to do for the weekend, but I don't have no plan. I've been taking myself on solo dates, and ever since I've been taking myself on solo dates, we've been real spontaneous with myself. I've been real spontaneous with myself. I get on the internet. It'd be like Wednesday, and I'd be like, "What's going on? Let me see if there's something going on for the low, because I don't got no money. Nobody gives me anything, and I don't have no dates because my DMs is empty, and nobody want to go on dates with me. So I don't know. At this point, it just is what it is, but." It's been kind of nice though, because I'm having a lot of self-reflection. I'm really learning what I do and I don't like, because I'm not distracted by trying to people please, which I've learned that I am a people pleaser, and I don't want to be one anymore. So I'm being able to have a lot of self-reflection on myself with myself. But that's what self-reflection is, right? Anyway, so I've been on a lot of solo dates. Me, myself, and I have gone to plays. We went to the movie. We went, just walking around, window shopping. I was somewhere else. I went to a play. I went to a concert. I went to a Aretha Franklin review concert, but it was a tribute concert, but it was really nice. And I did all that stuff myself. And yes, I got done up cute and everything. Well, when I went to the movies, I did not, because the movies, I am typically very cold and don't nobody see you. So what you getting done up for? I had on a cute sweatsuit and a hat. But other than that, yes, I get myself done up like as if I was going on a date, because I'm dating me, and who else to get better? Who better to get cute for than yourself? So I get cute. I go by myself. I don't even really interact with people, because I'm awkward when I'm outside, especially when I am alone. I am very awkward. That is something I need to work on, but I really don't know how to do that. I don't know how to push myself. That's my next step, is learning how to push myself, because my comfort zone has now become uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable in my comfort zone. I want to move further. So that's, my next step. So, I don't know, whatever coming up, we're going to talk about it. It's always something on the internet. So, we're going to talk about it. Y'all want me to commit to it being next week, and I be lying to y'all. Mostly because I really have a confidence issue, and so I be feeling like y'all don't even be really wanting to hear me, even though I see the numbers. I was like, people don't want. Ain't nobody want to. I got to do better. This year, okay, because it's lit, I got to do better. So, if somebody want to hit me up on any of my posts and be like, where their content at, that would be great, because then I would know people was really looking for me. I'm on TikTok. It's me, Danny, on TikTok, heavy. I post some of the stuff on Instagram, but most of the time it's on TikTok. I don't do anything on Facebook, for real. I really don't, because it's not the greatest community over there. just to be honest with you. So anyway, find me out here. I hope y'all have a wonderful week. The weather is starting to change. But also be mindful, because spring brings a lot of rain. Get you a cute pair of rain boots. That's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to shop for some. I probably ain't going to buy them yet, but I'm going to put them in my cart, okay? I'm going to put some cute rain boots in my cart for when the money show up, and then we'll see what happens. Anyway, y'all, it's been great talking to y'all. Y'all been listening to me. It's me, Danny, and this is JusSayin Podcast.